Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and as a kid, I played a lot of Tetris. I haven't really thought about the game much until this past weekend when I watched the Tetris movie on Apple TV, and it occurred to me just how well designed Tetris is as a game. I'd recommend the movie too. Feels like kind of a Soviet era spy thriller in a way, more than a video game movie, with a heavy touch of legal. Legal conflict in the movie without being a courtroom drama. Anyway, interesting movie, but a good reminder of how much I enjoyed Tetris when I was younger, and I'm sure I would enjoy it today as an adult if I wanted to play Tetris now as well. And so I thought I'd talk about Tetris from a game design perspective, focusing on two specific elements. My favorite element, the thing I think I appreciate most about Tetris, is just a little touch in that the game tells you which piece is coming up next. I think that's such a clever little design touch. The game doesn't have to do that. It could just randomly show up a new piece, and you have to deal with that piece. But I found, and I remember playing Tetris as a kid, because I had that extra little information, I could plan ahead a little bit. I didn't want to know too much. I didn't want to know too far in the future, but knowing that little piece of information about what was coming next helped me decide where I wanted to put the current piece, and it kind of triggered a certain part of my brain that wanted to work with that next piece as well. So I thought that was a really clever addition, and it reminded me of Slay the Spire as well, and a few other games of that style. Games where you know what the AI or what the opponent is going to do next, or what obstacle you'll have next, what option you'll have next. I think that's a key part of what makes Slay the Spire work so well in a roguelike deck building game, digital deck building game, because it gives you a lot more agency over your decisions in that game. So I really like that element of Tetris. The other element of Tetris that I think is so clever, and it's an inherent part of the game, so it doesn't really feel like a mechanism, but it totally is the fact that when you complete a row, that row clears. That clearing, I think, is really, really satisfying. And I was trying to think of a corollary in tabletop games. The closest I can think of is the game Bullet, which I've really enjoyed a lot lately. Bullet has an aspect of clearing certain aspects of your player mat when you've completed certain patterns. So it isn't a default row, it's certain patterns that you're trying to complete. But this aspect of Tetris, I think, just feels so satisfying whenever you are able to complete those rows, which is a big part of the game. That's how you continue to play the game without your screen filling up. But as you complete those rows and they clear out, there's this sense of completion. You've completed this thing, and it goes away so you can have more life in the game. You can survive longer in the game. I think that's just a really, really clever design element. And hopefully I can think of ways to implement that better in tabletop games. I think tabletop games could benefit from that element of not just completing something that you then have from then on, but completing something to make room for other stuff. Baron Park has something a little bit like this. Baron Park is a game where you're completing little grids of like little polyomino grids, but they're really clearing out after you complete them. So I bet you can think of some examples in the comments below. Let me know if you can think of games where you are completing a certain default element, a row, a column, a grid, and then it clears out, and that feels good because you have that sense of completion and clearance so you can make room for other stuff and continue to play, continue to get points, whatever that game may be. So that combined with the ability to see what's coming next, nice little touch in Tetris that I think made the game incredibly special. And I do treasure playing it as a child. I need to play it now to see how it holds up as an adult. Those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on Tetris.